Hey, what's up, guys? Esley Greer from Entertainment Fanatic Reviews, back with another review in the Halloween franchise. So today's review will be of Halloween H20, 20 years later, and today I'll be doing my first collab with anyone, and that person would be Matt from Random Matt Videos. So yeah, I'm very excited for this, and I can't wait to collab with more of you guys. That'd be awesome. My next collab is going to be with Jeffrey Bomber, so that's awesome. So yeah, let's get into this review of Halloween H20. So Halloween H2O is a 1998 American slasher film directed by Steve Miner and stars Jamie Lee Curtis, Adam Arkin, Michelle Williams, and Josh Hartnett. And its plot follows a post-traumatic Laurie Strode who has faked her own death so that she can go into hiding from Michael Myers, who finds her working as the head mistress of a boarding school in Northern California. The film is set in a retconned timeline in which the events of 4, 5, and 6 do not exist. So before I get into my positives or negatives, I'm going to let Random at Videos get into his positives and negatives and his ratings. So yeah, take it over, Matt.
Well, I am just glad to be here. I've seen Halloween H2O in theaters, and it was the first Halloween film that I've seen in theaters. I would have to say that I enjoyed seeing it in the theater. For my positives, when relating to Halloween H2O, would have to be the fact that Jamie Lee Curtis comes back to the franchise, and I would have to say that her performance in this film is awesome. I have always thought that she owned the role as Laurie Strode. I also love how Dr. Loomis is mentioned in this film. I love how you get to see his room where he stayed with the nurse. The negatives for this film would have to be that they wiped out the fact that Laurie Strode had a daughter and instead she had a son. Another thing that is a major issue for the film, and that would have to be that they use more than one mask, including the CGI mask. I can't stand looking at it. I wish they would just kept one mask for the film. It bothers me a lot. It's my main negative, my main issue with the film. Another negative would have to be that Michael Myers has no burn scars from the events that took place at the end of Halloween 2. If I were to rate this film, I would give it a 7 point, just because Michael Myers didn't have any burn scars on his hands or anywhere from the events from Halloween 2, and because they used more than one mask for the film. So, therefore, that's my positives and negatives for the film, along with its rating. Peace.
All right, that's some good positives and negatives, dude. That's awesome. So yeah, let's get into my positives with this. I really love that Jamie Lee Curtis has returned, and she's returning for the new Halloween film. If you live under a rock, you might not know that, but she's returning for that film. But I'm glad that she returned for this. There's good performances mostly all around. By her son and his friends. LL Cool J is. I hate to say it, but LL Cool J is probably my favorite part of this whole film. It's just so funny with every scene in him in it, and you're like, Halloween's not supposed to be funny, but I'll get into that with my negatives. I loved his character. It's just pretty funny. Him and his wife when he's on the phone with her. It's just some funny conversations. I really enjoy those, and also the shape himself is all right. There's no major complaints, except for the mask, but I'll get into that later. Um, I think the score in this is all right. It's pretty good. It has some pretty good cinematography, so that's always good in any film when it has good music, score and cinematography. I like how it's the sequel to Halloween 2. Getting into that, there are some negatives with that, but I do like that Dr. Samuel Loomis is mentioned in this film because um, I hated the ending to 6, but I know this doesn't take part in 6. Like this doesn't follow part 6. But I love that they brought it up and it showed where he works. And also, the lady at the beginning of Halloween 1, she's at the beginning of this film, and she dies. I think she's the first death in this, first or second. Also, we have a very young Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who I know best, who we probably all know best from The Dark Knight Rises, and I thought he was going to be Robin, but that story never went on anywhere. But it was nice seeing him in this. But I've seen him in older films, like A River Runs Through It. But it was just nice seeing him in this. He's like a little jockey kid that plays hockey and shit. It's funny. There's some great cameos as well. Jeanette Lee from Psycho. Oh my God, seeing her again. It's awesome that I didn't know this until recently, that she's Jamie Lee Curtis's real mom. And there's a picture of Jamie Lee Curtis recreating the shower scene, so I thought that was pretty cool. But it's just, and she also drives the same car that she bought in Psycho, so I thought that was phenomenal. But with all that being said, this film does have its negatives. And so my main negative with this is, like Matt stated, there's multiple masks. There's even a CGI mask, and that's very eye-boggling to me. Like I can't stand it really. Like I said, like one of my main negatives is the masks, but also another thing that got in the way is this just doesn't feel like a Halloween film at all to me. It just, after the success of Scream, everyone wanted to see horror films again, or at least slasher films. So this film feels more like a Scream type film than it does Halloween. But it's still a good movie and all, but it's just it reminds me so much of Scream. And the whole setting, the school setting is pretty cool, but it's just Northern California, seeing California, and it doesn't really fit. Like Matt has also stated, there's not burn scars. There's not no burns on his hand. There's no scars from anything. And also, there is one thing that's badass about this is Jamie Lee Curtis is Michael. That was awesome, but seeing Michael, one of the masks where he looks through the window, the door window, and you can see his eyes. I'm like, dude, you can't see his eyes. Like, those are supposed to be the blackest eyes. Like, come on, dude. But I do love the ending to this. It's pretty ballsy, but they say it's a paramedic in Resurrection. I'm like, dude, this was a badass ending. This would have been a great ending to the franchise. But then, Resurrection happened. So this is a positive and negative within itself. So I'm just going to keep it in the negatives because it pushes forward into Resurrection. So what can you do? But yeah, that is mine and Matt's review on Halloween H2O. And I will give Halloween H2O a 7 out of 10. I think it's a passable film. Like, it's nothing special. It's nowhere near as good as Halloween and Halloween 2 or Halloween 3. There are some decent kills and, there's decent acting all around, but nothing special about this film, really. But it is nice to see familiar faces. But with all that being said, don't be scared to like, comment, subscribe, and share. It'd be highly appreciated. And peace.